Sabi ni Libra, alam niyo kung ano yung tumatak sa akin kay PRD? Siya lang ang kauna-unahang pangulo na pinuntahan yung mga animal na mga nagprotesta sa Commonwealth. Siya lang po, not once but twice. Oh, at para sa akin, siya lang yung presidente na nakita niya nakapila ang mga tao sa labas ng DFA alas 4 ng umaga, natutulog sa bangketa, inintay niyang magbukas ang DFA, pumasok siya sa loob, asked to see who was in charge, and told them off and said, hindi na ba kayo naaawa? Mga Pilipino yan. Okay lang sa inyo yan, natutulog sila sa bangketa. He was the first president to see how that was such a big problem, na maawa siya dun sa mga ordinaryong mamamayan, magkaroon man lang ng puso. He brought caring back into government. And this administration can do nothing except blame him for things that are of their own doing. Ang galing. Mataas ang presyo ng pagkain kasi pinilay mo na nga yung mga farmers and you're allowing the importers to set their own prices. Ay nako. Which means keeping us poor and ignorant is the name of the game. Kaya nga ayaw nilang nakakapagsalita tayo because tinatabla natin yung impormasyon nila. Information should be, it belongs to everybody. Everybody should have access to information. It's a universal human right according to the United Nations. But even more than that, yung ability natin to communicate with each other, to say what we need to say what we want to say is a constitutionally protected right. Pero ngayon, nakikita natin masyadong maraming gumagamit sila ng excuse about fake news to restrict our capability to speak and in turn to check our government. Let's think more about what we can do for our country. But in the meantime, what we can do is remind them that itong ginagawa ng Marcos administration, ang dami nang ang problema, pero Duterte pa rin ang bukang bibig. Simple lang yan, Mr. President. If it's still about the Dutertes, what have you been doing in the nearly 3 years that you have been in office? Certainly, you have not been solving problems. Kasi hanggang ngayon, sinasabi ninyo, ililinis ninyo yung mess ng mga Dutertes. Magto 2 years na, ngayon nyo palang sinasabi niyan. Kaloka kayo. Well, today we're talking about probably one of those unsexy topics na people know or understand na importante siya pero hindi masyadong na pag-uusapan, or if you even post about it, hindi siya nag-viral masyado, and yet it is so important. We have no choice but to talk about it. At ang usapang ito ay usapang pagkain. At yes, we know that ang trolls ng kabilang parlor, kumbaga, the administration trolls like to laugh about it. Punta sila dito, yun yung abogadong nagugutom. Parang ganon, di ba? So, kaya siya naman yung amo nilang hindi natutulog. So, anyway, the point is that we really have to talk about it. Kasi kanina, let's put it on the screen. Well, lumabas ito, kanina ba to? No, a few days ago, lumabas ito sa Daily Tribune. Okay, let me just put it on the screen. Yan. This was February 28. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. This was February 28 at sinasabi dito is that Marcos is keen on addressing food security and rising prices. Parang ang ganda-ganda, no? Pero tingnan natin ng maigi. Ano yung mga sinasabi dito? Sabi ni Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary and Palace Press Officer Claire Castro, sa interview daw sa radyo, sabi niya, sa food security, tinututukan niya ng Pangulo at inaalam din kung saan ba dapat ang magandang paraan para ito ay malesen kung may problema man dyan. Yun naman ang laging ginagawa ng Pangulo. So I don't think that she knows what the President has already been doing, which unfortunately walang nadudulot ng mga resulta. So, sabi pa niya, the President will closely focus on identifying the problem behind the price of rice, which hasn't decreased significantly yet. At the same time, nag-caution siya about sanctions to be imposed on economic saboteurs, particularly smugglers and hoarders who are manipulating prices of agricultural products. Sabi niya, behind our backs, there are those committing crimes. This won't slip by the President's attention, so we will go after them one by one. Wait, what? Bakit? Ngayon lang ninyo naisip yan? In 2024, nag-pass si Presidente ng Executive Order number 62. Kung naaalala ninyo. Okay. Balik na tayo. Presidential Executive Order number 62. Actually lowered tariff rates all across the board for agricultural products and extended the period for rice prices for diminished tariffs at 35% instead of the usual 50%. Okay. Binabaan yung taripa ng bigas from 50% down to 35% during the pandemic, and it was supposed to end in December 2023. In-extend ito ng Pangulo until December 2024 and then issued Executive Order number 62, parang indefinite yata ang extension ng pagbaba ng taripa sa bigas. Okay? Marami pa ang ibang mga produkto na binabaan ang taripa. And all of these are agricultural products. The theory being that if we flood the Philippines with more imports, with cheap imported food products, bababa ang presyo ng pagkain. But unfortunately, it's not that simple. Unang-una, you don't want to kill the local agricultural industry, the farmers and all that. Pagka puro imports na mas mura kaysa mga binibenta ng mga local farmers natin, may problema rin tayo because that will be a significant sector that will diminish. We need to be able to feed ourselves or have some kind of plan kung saan manggagaling ang ating pagkain. Ngayon nga, bakit pinagtutuunan ng pansin ng Pangulo suddenly ang bigas? And in fact, kahit ang Kongreso ay nagsasabi na magtatayo na silang Quintcom para tutukan ang presyo ng agriculture products or actually pagkain. Matagal na po nilang sinasabi. Disyembre pa po nag-umpisa yung Quintcom, pero wala pa po tayong nakikitang significant na polisiya or even discoveries. And in fact, parang lumalabas doon sa interview ni Attorney Claire na hindi pa rin nila alam kung bakit tumataas ang presyo ng pagkain, particular na ang bigas, in spite of the fact that marami nang ginawa daw ang presidente, which I don't think she's even aware of yet. So significant dito ang Executive Order number 62 dahil nung pinasa nila ito, wala itong consultation kung kaya't ito po ay china-challenge sa Korte Suprema filed last June 2024. Pero wala pa po masyadong galaw itong kaso na ito, even if the farmers and the representatives of the farmers have asked for a temporary restraining order. Sabi ni Ma'am Len, good evening. Food prices have always been the issue of this administration. Kailan kaya nila bibigyan ng totoong solusyon? Wait po ako sa insights nyo about Attorney Respicio versus Comelec. That's an interesting case. Sige, pag-usapan muna natin itong pagkain, ha? Okay, next. Sabi ni Jeffrey, hindi rin magiging mura ang import products kahit marami kasi sobrang taas ng charges ng shipping lines at port charges. Mataas, kaya number one na si Rason. Isa yon. Yes, that's true. But also, kahit mababa na ang taripa, may price, hindi may price, ano bang tawag doon? Price gouging ba yung tawag na? Ang laki pa rin ng patong nila pagdating dito sa Pilipinas. And the importers are also the tradespeople. Sila din po ang pumupunta sa mga farmers at binibili yung bigas nila. So they virtually control the market. So it is really unusual for Malacanang to say na pinutuon pa nila yung problema nito. Parang kumbaga hinahanap pa nila kung ano yung solusyon. They have to identify what the problem is. Bakit matapos lahat ng ginawa nila ay hindi pa rin daw bumababa ang presyo ng pagkain. Well, unang-una, kailangan gawin natin efficient ang local production. At saka, while at the same time making sure that our farmers are able to make a profit. Pero ano yung pinagtutuunan ng pansin ng Department of Agriculture? May mga subsidies, it's true. Subsidy sa abono, may mga equipment na pwedeng hiramin, may semilya. So lahat yan napoprovide naman pero unequal po ang pagka-implement ng mga subsidies na ito all over the country and many of them are victim to corruption. So in addition to that, ito na nga, ruinous na yung ating import policy pagdating sa agrikultura. Why do we say ruinous? It's going to ruin our local industries and our local farmers. And supposedly, ang purpose ng para sa pagbababa ng taripa, sa pagtataas ng mga quota at sa import ng pagkain, if flood natin ng imports ang merkado, is para bumaba ang presyo. Pero ang tagal-tagal na nilang ginagawa ito. 2022 pa lang pinapansin na nila yung presyo ng pagkain, pero walang ginagawa. In 2023, nag-umpisa yung pagbababa ng taripa, pero at least sumusunod pa sila sa batas noon. Come 2024, nagbaba sila wholesale under Executive Order number 62 ng mga presyo ng lahat ng imports on agricultural products, but wala silang safeguards at hindi sila nag-conduct ng required consultation under the law, even under the rights tarification law. Beyond that, meron pa silang pag-extend ng period sa binabaan sa minimal na taripa sa importations ng bigas. So, nag-declare ng food emergency ang ating Pangulo kailan lang, last month, and ang ginawa lang nila is in-unload yung shares of yung stocks na yung iniimbak ng National Food Authority. Pero if you look at their press releases, a few weeks before the declaration of the food emergency, sinabi na ng NFA na kailangan nilang mag-unload dahil tumatanda na nga yung kanilang mga stocks that the law requires them to warehouse. Kailangan may enough supply sa warehouses ng National Food Authority to last 30 days in case of calamities. Hindi pa rin ito ginagawa. Well, nag-unload nga ang NFA, pero ano yung bukod tangi nilang sagot sa mga pagtataas ng presyo ng bigas? Sila po ay magpapakadiwa. Tapos mababa ang presyo ng kadiwa. But the kadiwa is not really marketplace. In other words, nagpo-provide sila, ay may murang bigas dito, but ilan lang ang pinoprovide nila. Usually, these are the imported rice. Sabi nila, bibili daw sila sa local farmers, pero parang wala masyadong nangyayari sa ganon. Gawa nga ng may standards ang COA na nire-require para dun sa, sa bibilhin na bigas locally. So, dead-ended sila. They know what the problem is, pero pinibigyan lang nila ng priority ang importation dahil sino-sino ba ang kumikita dyan sa mga importations na yan? Is it possible that there are some government officials who are directly related to importers o sila mismo ang importers na nakikinabang dito sa sitwasyon natin? Mag-import sila ng napakamura pero ibebenta pa rin nila dito ng napakamahal. At pag masyadong mura ang bentahan dito, iwe-warehouse nila at magka-create sila ng artificial shortage katulad ng ginagawa nila sa bawang at sibuyas para tumaas ang presyo at kikita ulit ng super laki. So, nagkakalokohan tayo pagdating dito sa issue ng pagkain. Nagkakaano na rin. Kumbaga, masyado namang halata na every year sinasabi nila, ito na yung solusyon, pero wala talagang nangyayari in spite of all of that. Tapos, ang bukod tanging sinasabi ng mga trolls, hindi naman niya sinabi, pinangako na magbe-20 pesos ang bigas. Pangarap lang niya yun. So ngayon, ang sinasabi ng presidente, ito yung ginawa namin para matupad na yung pangarap natin na nasa 20 ang presyo ng bigas. So na ngayon, mukhang tanga tuloy yung mga trolls nila, because, nag-mixed messaging tuloy sila. Inaamin ng presidente na tinutukoy niya yung maging 20 pesos plus or more or less ang bentahan ng per kilo ng bigas, pero ang mga trolls nila are making excuses for that, and saying that we misunderstood. Pangarap lang niya, pero wala siyang intensyon na ipatupad. Sabi ni D, hindi daw masarap ang bigas na galing kadiwa. May booth niyan sa Ayala MRT, pero hanggang ngayon wala akong nakikitang pumila kahit mura. Well, it's still quality, di ba? People will still look for quality. Okay, next. Okay. Sabi ni Ma'am Glory Lee, mahirap po yung pagtaas ng bilihin, even po yung kuryente at tubig nagtaas, pero ang sweldo po ng mga tao kulang pa. Kahit OFW po, ramdam yung taas ng bilihin at bayarin. Oo, in spite of the weak peso. Diba? Anong ibig sabihin dito sa Pilipinas pag weak yung peso? Mas konti ang mabibili ng piso mo kaysa dati. Kaya nararamdaman natin yung pagtaas ng presyo ng pagkain at saka other products. Sabi ni D, galing sa ENC, kaka-upload lang kanina, Duterte did a better job. Analyst on rice prices, corruption under Marcos, and Duterte admins. Yikes! Lumalabas na ang katotohanan. Sabi ni Jeffrey, may quota si BOC sa duties and taxes, hindi na nasunod ang price actually paid. Sa pilitang pag additional ng taxes yan ipapatong ni importer, edi sa buyer na naman. Correct. So it is unfortunate that hindi nag-uusap ang Marcos admin, Kasi on the one hand, si Speaker Martin Romualdez sabi na, sige, gagawin namin ito para bumaba ang presyo ng well, at the same time, making sure that farmers earn chuchu, ganyan. Pero he also said that last year and the year before that. Pero wala pa rin pong nangyayari. Walang polisiya na lumalabas sa Kongreso at wala po tayong nakikita na anybody coming up with bright ideas. And wala tayong nakikita na mga programa o mga batas dun sa pagpapatibay or pag-strengthen, pagiging efficient at pagtulong, yung totoong tulong sa ating mga magsasaka. Parang ang feeling ko ganito ang ginagawa ng Department of Agriculture. They want to finance all aspects of production, pero hindi nila tutulungan yung farmer na makabenta. Sa totoo lang, sabi ni Grey Wolf, sumagot ka, sabi ni Duterte, 7 pesos. That is not true. You are directly misquoting him. Akala nyo ba makakalampas yung mga ganyang fake news ninyo? Binabaan niya ng 7 pesos, means a decrease of 7 pesos. And sa totoo, he made, yung bigas nung panahon ni Duterte was 48 pesos na pababaan niya yon. So, mali po kayo at pakinggan nyo kasi yung mga dalubhasa. Palibhasa, pupunta ka dito, dala-dala mo lang yung cliche o kaya yung kwento sa inyo ng mga operators ninyo, pero they did not explain what happened then. So hindi mo rin naiintindihan. Besides that, nung time na yun, especially in the early years, before the rice tarification law, may direct participation pa ang NFA in the market and they wanted to keep that. Yun yung pagkakamali sa rice tarification that BBM was supposed to have corrected. Nasa na? Pinag-uusapan ba ang RTL dito ngayon sa Kongreso? Sabi sila ng sabi, gagawa sila ng paraan pero hindi gumagalaw. Did the President certify a change in the rice tarification law? Lakas ng loob ninyo mag-misquote kay Duterte. He said 7 pesos less. Hindi yung babawasan na magiging 7 pesos. Saan ka naman nakakita ng ganyan? Kahit ikaw aaminin mo that there's no such thing, moron. Sabi ni Alakdang, sorry, I apologize for that last word. That's so not me. Pero it's really ridiculous na sasabihin ninyo, nagsinabi niya 7 pesos, sabi niya mabawasan ng 7 pesos, Mariosep. So, pwede ibaba ng 7 pesos. Yun na, binababaan ng 7 pesos. And he was on top of it. In fact, ang tagal-tagal niyang inaral yun bago niya pinirmahan yung RTL. Kasi sabi niya, we need money to subsidize the farmers. And this was the only way that he could see doon sa rice tarification law. Ang sabi niya, if it doesn't work, this has to be repealed. Eto, kahit yung mga trolls ni BBM sinasabi, kasi si Duterte rice tarification law. Anong petsa na? 3 taon na kayo nandito sa sa poder ninyo, pero hindi ninyo ginagalaw ang RTL. Kapal ng muka to blame it on the previous administration. It says more about how you just keep making excuses when the solution is staring you in the face. Oy, ngayon wala ka nang kita mo ang sagot ni Grey Wolf, tama na pambobola, gising na kami. Sus Mariosep, ibig sabihin you've run out of arguments, nag-ad hominem ka lang. What you're doing is attacking me, but you actually do not know the problem when it comes to rice. So what are you doing now? Obviously, hindi mo masagot yung sagot namin tungkol sa sinabi ni Duterte or even in the state of how rice is being managed in this country. So the only thing you can say is tama ka na sa pambobola mo. Gods, clearly you are out of your league here. Alam mo, dapat may IQ requirement sa pagpasok dito sa aming comment section eh. We don't mind when you want to ask questions. We don't mind kung gusto mong maliwanagan. We don't mind if you say something like, di ba sinabi ni Duterte ganito? We are willing to explain that. What we're not willing to do, however, is to take cognizance of trolls like you who have no intention of an actual serious debate on the issue or to even discuss the issue. What you're doing is simply trying to find a way to make us upset. Sorry. Yun, sabi ni Jeffrey, ganyan sila, gagawa ng issue pero ikaw hahanapan ng ebidensya. Unfortunately, ito yung beat ko nung nasa karambola ako. And I was actually a consultant in the NFA in 2019. So, no, hindi mo pwedeng inventohin yung mga ganyan because I know the developments there. I know how this became an issue during the Duterte administration. I'm not saying perfect yung pagkahandle nila. I disagree with that. On the other hand, it is so much better than how this administration is handling it. Sabi ni Ma'am Ira, kapag talaga ng mukha ni PCO na lilinisin ang naiwang dumi ni FPRD, she don't mind if magmukha siyang katawa-tawa. Well, I think the best thing to do there is to correct what she says. Pero wag niyo na siyang pansinin. I mean, wag rin tayong mag-ad hominem. But tama naman kayo that mali talaga yung approach nila to the problem. Talagang they're aggressive and they're not here to debate. They're not here to spread information. They're not here para i-uplift ang mga Pilipino to make all of these issues clear. No, that's not their point. Their point here is to pick a fight. And the problem is there are just too many supporters of Duterte who are willing to answer that call. Ay, dun sa mga nandito. Sabi ni Jeffrey, ano ba sabi ni B nung may kalamidad? Ano gagawin daw niya? Eh di maghanap ng masisisi at kay PRD nila isisi kasi wala talaga silang magawa. Sabi ni Francis, if these trolls or PBBM supporters have sufficient level of intelligence, they shouldn't be here. I know. If they don't have any intention talaga of conducting a rational discussion, then kawawa lang naman talaga sila dito. Sabi ni Ed De Leon, 660. 3 taon na nakapwesto pero ang performance ng admin na to worst, bigas na staple food ng tao. Even worse, sir. 3 taon na nakapwesto pero lahat ng bagay kasalanan pa rin ng previous administration. Aba, anong ginagawa nila? Sila yung nakaupo, sila yung nasa poder, sila yung may access sa pera, sila yung may possibility to come up with solutions, sila yung may resources to do that. They have the command, they can move people, they can move money, they can do all of these things, pero still kasalanan ng dating administrasyon. Aba, kung kayo yung magaling at alam ninyong kasalanan ng dating administrasyon, ba't hindi nyo inaayos na 3 taon na kayo? Diba? It's that simple. You have been in office for 3 years. If you say that it was still the previous government, edi inutil kayo. And I apologize if that sounds bad, but inutil means useless. You are useless. We're put in power. You were there. We put you in a position para isolve mo yung mga problema, not find blame and point fingers. Sabi ni Ma'am Karen, first time kitang marinig magmura ng moron. Well, hindi siya mura eh. But it's name calling and I apologize for that. I don't want to do it again. Sabi niya, and it's so satisfying. Last kong bili pinakamura last July 2022 pa at 47 per kilo. Asan na pala paliwanag sa COA nung may million pesos discrepancy na DA Secretary at Presidente pa rin ngayon. Tulalo. Sabi ni Di, bumalik na ba si BBM sa Malacanang o campaign manager pa din siya ngayon? Well, to be fair, the president is considered a political animal. And yes, of course, we expect them to be on the campaign trail. Ang hindi ko lang talaga nagugustuhan is, ay, ang sipag mo mga kampanya, pero pagdating dun sa real and actual work, hanggang ngayon, 3 taon na o magka-3 taon na, ngayon mo palang tinutukoy kung ano yung problema sa agrikultura. Eh, what have you been doing? Nagbabaka ng taripa ng walang consultation and na taliwas doon sa batas. Pagkatapos, hindi mo pa pala alam kung ano yung dahilan. So, bakit ka nagbaba ng taripa? Hindi mo pa pala alam kung ano yung problema. So, yun talaga. Pagka pumunta sa mga walls ninyo yung mga ganyan, sasabihin nila, kasalanan ni Duterte, magta-3 taon na yung amo ninyo, wala pa rin siyang nagawa, Duterte pa rin. So it just goes to show na yung influence at yung pangalan ng Duterte matunog pa rin na kailangan siyang gamitin ng mga kalaban nila para magka-traction. Haven't you notice, pagka bumababa ang kanilang mga ratings, Duterte, pero masasama ang nilalabas nila. Bakit? Because people are interested in the Duterte name. Pagpunta mo sa social media, may magbanggit ng Duterte, dudumugin yan for good or for bad, whatever. But people want to participate in discussions that involve the Duterte name. Pagka Marcos yung nakasulat dyan, dead ma. Tignan nyo nga, siniseryoso pa ba yung Facebook page ng ating Pangulo? Always answer that. Pag sinabi nila kasalanan ni Duterte, ibig sabihin hanggang ngayon wala ka pa rin nagagawa. At kung sasabihin nyo ngayon, lang nakita na may problema pala from the Duterte administration, 2 years into your office, ngayon nyo lang natutukoy kung ano yung problema? What's going on? Sabi ni Marksman, tali kasi mga kamay ni BBM kasi hindi magalaw yung mga smugglers. Baka, grabe. Sabi ni Jacinto, kumuha si BBM ng spokesperson para makatulong pero nadagdagan yung problema niya. Shh, don't tell him that. Sabi ni Jeffrey, 100% tama si Tatay Diggs na weak leader, magaling lang gumamit ng salita kasi nakapag-aral sa labas. Pero kung isa-isahin mo, lahat ng pinagsasabi niya, walang kwenta, paikot-ikot lang at hindi nasagot ang tanong mo. Sabi ni Ma'am Glory Lee, tama po kayo, lagi na lang nilang sinisisi si Tatay Digong pag may aberyang nangyayari, di lang talaga malampasan o mapantayan man lang ng administrasyon yung frustrating ni Tatay Digong at yung projects niya. Hi kay Noel who's watching from Davao City! Sabi ni Grototo, naka-hide yung reactions dun sa page ng Pangulo. Oo nga eh. Hi kay Mark! Sabi ni Manel, 3 taon na panunungkulan pero si Tatay Digong pa rin ang pinagtutuunan ng pansin. Correct. Why? Because mas matunog, mas reactive ang mga tao sa pangalang Duterte. Pagdating dun sa pangalang Marcos, may sabay, Ew. Sabi ni Ma'am Edith, gusto ko lang naman malaman sa asa na yung enroll bill. Bakit bumagsak bigla ang tulay BBM? Sabi ni Ma'am Karen, kala ko it ends with budol and pagnanakaw only, pero manisi pa in his 3-year tenure. It is more than useless. He's in office para lang maghiganti at pahirapan every living Filipino. Matapos din ang sobrang kabaitan ng bawat Pilipino and that day will come soon. Better get a good grip, B. I love how articulate and erudite our commenters are. Sabi ni Ma'am Margaret, yung tulay Duterte rin sinisisi, pero panahon pa ni Noynoy yun, kaloka, no? Sabi ni Marky Boy, si Duterte naman talaga ang problema. Bakit? Because he pointed out the weaknesses of your boss? Unfortunately, that's called free speech and it's in the Constitution. Si Duterte ang problema, hanggang ngayon, di pa rin na-fix ni BBM. Anong klase yan? Kung si Duterte yan, if he had a problem with the previous president, within the first year, tapos na yan. Kasi unlike your boss, Duterte, when he came into office, he hit the ground running. Ano yung mga inuna? Pinaayos yung passports. O, di ba? Pinaasikaso yung mga driver's licenses. Galit na galit siya na pinahihirapan ng ordinaryong mamamayan. Nagpalinis siya ng cities. Tinanong ko kung totoo yun na mayroon siyang umikot siya sa Metro Manila, nakamotor siya. Tapos kinatok na yung ilang mayor at sinabihan, pwede bang linisin mo? Manong ang linisin mo yung yung city mo? Hindi ka na ba hindi ka ba proud sa ikaw ang mayor? O, hit the ground running. That's leadership. He was already working. Kapapanalo pa lang niya kung nag-iikot na siya para makita niya kung ano yung problema. And within the first year in office, ang daming nagawa. Ikaw, boss nyo, magtatatlong taon na, ano pa lang ang nagagawa? Puro plano. Ay, nako. Not only that, ninanakaw niyo pa yung credit for the achievements in the Duterte administration. Tumigil nga kayo dyan. Akala nyo, manluloko nyo kami, sasabihin nyo, but look at you, what you say, all of what you say, kayong mga trolls for BBM, they're empty. Ad hominem. Kasi ikaw, ganyan, nambubola ka lang. Really? Counteract my argument. Tell me how you were right. Tell me how this administration has been able to tackle and resolve the problem of food prices. Nung una nga anong sinasabi ninyong mga trolls? Sabi ninyo, the world over naman, mahal talaga ang presyo ng pagkain. O ayan, sinasabi ni BBM. Hindi na nakakapagtaka, bakit daw mataas pa rin ang presyo ng bigas? Hindi pala niya alam yung problema. Pero hindi niya sinasabing the world over yan. Because the world over, at the various governments, gumagawa sila ng programa para makakain yung mga tao nila. Dito, hanggang ngayon, hinahanap pa nila yung problema. Sabi ni Jason, what I love with PRD is that kahit aware siya na fault ng previous admin yung kakulangan, not a single word did he utter to blame. He is able to man up in coming up with solutions. Yan ang tatak Duterte that BBM failed to copy. Such a weak leader indeed. In fact, sino yung kapareha ng strategy ni BBM to blame the previous administration? Noy, everything was GMA's fault. To some extent, yes, kasi naman marami akong issues kay GMA. But when it came to economic policies, a lot of what she put in were sound. So anong ginawa ni BS Aquino? It was always kasalanan ng dating administrasyon yan. Dito sa kayo yung boss ko, kaya ako walang wangwang. Mga ganun. Sabi ni Lovingly Yours, in all fairness, nagigising ng mga tao ngayon. Kung may balita kay BBM o magsalita siya, puro hakal react lang. Nakukuha niya, real survey comes with the comment section. Ayaw na talaga sa kanya, nasusuka na. Yun. Oo nga, sabi ni Marian Zen. Hanggang ngayon, puro appointment ng staff, massive forced resignation. Sabi ni Libra, alam niyo kung ano yung tumatak sa akin kay PRD? Siya lang ang kauna-unahang pangulo na pinuntahan yung mga animal na mga nagprotesta sa Commonwealth. Siya lang po, not once but twice. At para sa akin, siya lang yung presidente na nakita niya nakapila ang mga tao sa labas ng DFA alas 4 ng umaga, natutulog sa bangketa, inintay niyang magbukas ang DFA, pumasok siya sa loob, asked to see who was in charge, and told them off and said, hindi na ba kayo naaawa? Mga Pilipino yan. Okay lang sa inyo yan, natutulog sila sa bangketa. He was the first president to see how that was such a big problem, na maawa siya dun sa mga ordinaryong mamamayan, magkaroon man lang ng puso. He brought caring back into government. And this administration can do nothing except blame him for things that are of their own doing. Ang galing. Mataas ang presyo ng pagkain kasi pinilay mo na nga yung mga farmers and you're allowing the importers to set their own prices. Ay nako. Ito yung problema kasi puro negosyante, puro malalaking negosyante ang mga campaign contributors na binibaby nila masyado. Pinagbibigyan sa lahat na lang. In other countries, merong tinatawag na antitrust laws. Mayroon tayong competitiveness commission. Pero anong ginagawa nila? Wala. You allow businessmen to be richer than even government, which means that they can virtually dictate or literally dictate to government officials, policies, even tax measures, business measures, red tape measures that will benefit their businesses. Some of them are actually politicians making laws that benefit their own companies. Pero syempre, hindi nakikita ni BBM yan. Sabi ni Lazy Toy, bitin lang attorney yung comment niya, tuloy ko na, si Duterte talaga problema, sinisira na nga nila, hindi pa rin masira-sira, problema talaga si Tatay Diggs sa kanila. Yep. Sabi ni Jerry, whatever mistakes made from the previous administration doesn't make sense to blame. It takes 6 months to study, another 6 months to make a plan, and the next action is for implementation para umayos. But did they even plan? Yun, sabi ni, di magaling si GMA sa economics kahit maraming kurakot nung time na yun. Yeah, she needed it to survive eh. Ganun talaga pag nangaagaw ka. Sabi ni Dino, panay yung pintas nila sa previous administration ni Duterte but they forgot to see the much bigger mess the country has right now. Si BBM ay mahinang presidente. Tama po yan. Hi kay Josh. Sabi ni Ma'am Nora, si BBM nagplano po, mangungutang na naman para daw po sa PhilHealth. Totoo po ba yun? Hindi po ako magugulat kung totoo yan. Kasi nawala na sila dun sa yung base dun sa actuarial studies, na setback sila, hindi natin ma-achieve yung 10-year goal. Sabi ni Ma'am Marlene, problema po sa mga Marcos trolls, parang lata lang, alam mong wala naman laman kasi maingay. Sabi ni Alvin, si Duterte lang makita mong nagbabaw sa mga tao. Sinabi niya, tinanong ko yan eh. Sabi niya, the last time that he bowed before the people was his last day as president. Sabi niya, because public servant siya. And he is bowing to the Filipino people who have power over him. Yun ang presidente na ina-acknowledge niya kung saan nanggagaling yung kanyang power. Sabi ni Lynn Tasha, ang iba attorney, uninformed pa rin sa tunay na nangyayari. Sabi nila corrupt daw si BP dahil sa mainstream media coverage sa US. Kaya forward them your page, hopefully they'll watch you. Yeah, and always remember that you cannot make a conclusion that the VP is corrupt when no court has declared that to be so. When not even COA has declared that to be so. So, saan ang gagaling yung kanilang mga pronouncements na ganyan? Pinulot lang or pinitas sa ere? Sabi ni Crisostomo Ibarra, actual truth is he sees everything, but not a single drop of care to the people. They're there to hold power and claim the Philippines as their own property one day. Oo, and we all just happen to live here. Sabi ni Inday, bakit si PRD sinisisis pagbagsak ng tulay? Hindi ko alam. Ganun naman sila, parati na lang si Duterte sinisisi. Pero that's an Aquino era project. Conceived, financed, designed during the Aquino administration. Nag-start ang construction during the Duterte administration, 2019. Pero ito, the planning and all that, and yung mga design phase was in the Noynoy administration. Sabi ni Ma'am Rosemary, ito ang pinakagusto kong live mo, attorney. Tumatay yung balahibo ko every time nagsasalita ka. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Sabi ni Ma'am Edith, si PRD lang ang taong wala akong pakialam dati, pero ngayon ipaglalaban ko. I reminded him. Sabi ko, sir, the first day I met you, tayo lang dalawang magkakampi. We're in a room full of lawyers, MCLE yun. Okay? Dumating siya, for some reason, siguro nag-MCLE din. MCLE kami. Tapos, napag-usapan yung juvenile delinquency law ni Kiko Pangilinan, which everybody said was, ay, bakit ganyan? Dapat nga tinataasan binababaan ang age of criminal responsibility para sa mga bata. So, sabi ko, baliktad yata. Kasi pagdating sa bata, garbage in, garbage out yan. Kung paano mo pinalaki, yun din po ang ipapakita niya. So kung napapabayaan niya ng mga magulang, there's no point in lowering the age of criminal responsibility. It is in the upbringing. Bukod pa dyan, the juvenile delinquency law took away yung reformatory aspect ng batas. So, all of the lawyers in that room were saying, ganyan, bakit dinidepensahan mo? Tignan mo yung mga bata, naninira ng kotse, nagaganan-ganan. Sabi ko, these are minors. They do not know or understand the consequences of their actions. In fact, psychologists have told us that brain development and maturity really happens only after 25 years old. Sabi ko, in the US, it's 18 and most of the world. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, nasa 15 or 16 tayo. Para sa akin, we need to strengthen the family, to strengthen the social support of the barangays also pagdating dun sa if the families themselves feel overwhelmed. Ang kakampi ko lang, si Mayor Duterte. So, nagulat ako. Dalawa lang kami. Sabi ko, sir, hindi ko alam kung natatandaan mo. Sabi niya, naaalala ko yun, ikaw pala yun. So that's when I first met him. Bago-bago pa lang ako, siguro na abogado. Mga 3 years pa lang yata ako nagpo-practice. Pero inargue ko in a room full of lawyers na itong batas ni Kiko Pangilinan was wrong, but not in the way that they were saying. Kasi walang criminal liability. Para sa akin, hindi dapat may criminal liability, pero dapat may reformatory aspect. You have to take the child out of a society which he can harm. Yeah? Pwede sila mag-cause ng harm. So pwede mo pa rin dapat tanggalin. But not put them in jail. You put them in reformatory schools. Sabi ni Ma'am, ni Bicolanong makulit, bakit ang maisog group ang yayabang na hindi pa nanalo si Atty. Parang kung mga sino na sila, hindi na raw nila kailangan support ng Filipino guerrilla forces. Uy! It might be something else. It's probably not that. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding, sir. Sabi ni Ampon, music lyric, out of topic, pampalimig lang ng ulo. OFW from Korat, Thailand, watching right now with my birthday wife. Happy birthday to your wife! Okay, so, masasabi po ba na batas din ang pinagmulan kung ba't di sila nadidisiplina? Hindi eh. Well, yung juvenile delinquency law is problematic. Kasi pinakakawalan nila kaagad yung bata and inuuwi yan dun sa parents, tapos supposedly under the supervision or dapat pinabantayan pa rin ng barangay. Unfortunately, a lot of the reasons why there is delinquency is because hindi nga kaya ng families, na-overwhelm din sila dun sa needs ng bata. And sometimes the needs, the financial needs of the family means that either both parents are working, baka OFW yung isang spouse, and so on. Hindi talaga kinakaya. So kailangan may support mechanisms, may structures for that. Kung kailangan ilabas, tanggalin yung bata from the family environment that has led to the misbehavior, then it's not in the law. So we are failing our kids. Diba? Even yung mga batang kalye, we want to feed them, I've had experience, we actually took in a street child before. Ang dami ng problema by the time umabot sa amin, but still we continued, pinaaral namin, pinaan namin lahat. But it needs a psychological intervention also. Hindi ganun kasimple. There is no single solution to juvenile delinquency. Hi kay Admar, nandito siya sa TikTok. Batiin niyo naman si Sir Admar. Sabi niya, hi po sa lahat ng all. Ayun, sabi ni Ma'am Precious, barangay. Naku, dito nga sa amin ay na-unalive yung isang bata. Kinabukasan, may barangay kuno, nagbabantay 3 araw lang. Ngayon, wala na naman yung barangay. So yun na nga eh. But sometimes, even the government structure is not sufficient. Sabi ni DO1, may pinasususpindi na sina Martin ng Supreme Court. Paano siya masususpindi ng Supreme Court? Sa ombudsman hiningi yung suspension, yung preventive suspension nila. Tignan natin. Ngayon lang daw binalita sa GMA. Hanapin natin yan. Wala po akong nakikita. 1 week ago pa po yung mga balita. And ang hinihingi is preventive suspension with the ombudsman. So, hindi ko po alam, Dio, kung saan mo na nakuha yan. Can you send the link, please? Sir Admar, daming bumabati sa inyo dito sa YouTube at saka sa Facebook. Sabi ni Dino, are the elites and the oligarchs in control of our Philippine politics since PRD left the presidency? They've always been in control. Nabigyan lang tayo ng 6 na taon with PRD. And now it's business as usual. Sabi ni Ana, di ba po may Girls Town and Boys Town? Dati naalala ko panakot sa amin yung bata kami pag nagpapasaway kami. Yes, meron dating ganon. I think meron pa rin. It's privately run, but hindi na siya part ng system ever since the law was passed. Hi kay RV. Sabi ni D, ang latest na nabalitaan ko, 400 engineers nagsipag-resign in the last 8 months kasi hindi nakasahod, according to the new DOTR secretary. Yes, pero wala rin akong nakikita na ginagawa nila ng budget para masahuran sila. That's owed to them. Sabi ni Great Wall, importation is the short term. I agree. Modern farming is the long-term solution sa rice problem. I also agree. With lower tariffs and blatant disregard of the law by this admin, it seems we're far from food sustainability. Ay, bumalik nga tayo went backwards. Sabi ni Lovingly Yours, pag nasuspindi po ba si Martin Romualdez, mapapalitan siya speaker? No. Kasi it's temporary. At pwede na ma-file ang other congressmen for impeachment kay BBM betrayal of public trust. Posible, because somebody else will take over for him. But I admire your optimism. Hi, Kaylin. Sigrid says, sabi ng PNP, hindi daw totoo na tumaas ang crime rate ngayon, samantalang nakabalanda lagi sa news sa mga ina-unalive na biktima ng mga at droga at mga recruitment ng mga T na grupo. Oo nga eh. Alam nyo ba na under the, may pronouncement ng COMELEC during this election season, you cannot use the T word. Ay, nako. Sabi ni Ma'am Glory Lee, parang yung pamangkin ko po, 2 lalaki po sila, sobrang hirap po kastiguhin. OFW po kami magkakapatid, talagang lagi po sila nagbabarangay, di din sila sumusunod sa barangay rules. Iba, we need support structures for that. Minsan pinadi-DSWD yung mga ganyan. So, yeah, that's another thing. Hindi yan napagtutuunan ng pansin. But this is the family. This is the basic unit. Sabi ng Saligang Batas, yan talaga pinagtutuunan natin ng pansin. We have to have resources for that. Huh. So, yun. Next. Tinatanong kasi yung T-word, and the T-word is, hanapin nyo yung Republic Act 11479. Andun yung T-word. Okay. So, yes, we do have to talk about Attorney Respicio. Respicio ba? Tama, no? Si Harold Respicio. Attorney Respicio is a lawyer and a CPA. At siya po ay tumatakbo bilang vice mayor ng yung munisipyo niya. At may napansin daw po siya doon sa sistema ng NIRO na ginagamit ng COMELEC. At ang sinabi niya, may mga weaknesses ito or vulnerabilities. Kasi daw, ayon dun sa kanyang nabasa na issuance ng COMELEC, ay yung mga vote counting machines ay nakakonekta sa internet the whole time. And sabi niya, this could cause a hacking incident. As a Reyna Mercedes Isabella. Thank you kay Jael. So, I do not have enough technical knowledge to comment on what he said, but I will defend his right to say it. This is a matter of public interest and of public importance. It is necessary. Ano yung isa sa pinakamatindi nating karapatan? Yung karapatan natin, pumili kung sino yung uupo sa mga, sa pwesto sa gobyerno who will help manage the country. Kapag dinaya nila yan, hindi totoo yung mga nakaupo. Hindi sila tunay na hinalal ng taong bayan. And ang sistema ng election relies on trust. So in order for them to address the issue of trust in the system, kailangan magbigay sila ng impormasyon. Pero imbis po na salagin nila yung sinasabi ni Attorney Respicio, imbis na i-draw siya into a discussion, instead of providing for more information, dinimanda siya. Wow. At nakapila pa nga, disbarment, pagtanggal pati ng lisensya niya ng pagka-CPA, and so on. And para sa akin, itong pagpapatanggal ng lisensya ng isang abogado for a matter that does not relate to his being a lawyer is abusive. Who is going to speak for the bar? At uulitin ko po, unlike in other countries, the bar is under the bench, meaning under kami ng supervision of the Supreme Court. Pero in other countries, the bar is independent, meaning the bar, the lawyers can check the judges and justices. And vice versa, the judges and justices can check the lawyers and the bench. And somebody will speak for the lawyers. Ang problema dito, kapag ang abogado ay hinabla o nireklamo, ang Korte Suprema, which has supervision over us, is more likely to punish the lawyer. Nobody speaks up for the lawyer except the lawyer himself. Sabi ni Nine Kitasawa, no such thing as unhackable, lalo na kung naka-online ka. Sabi ni Ma'am Susana, good evening, silent listener from Kitlam, British Columbia. Thank you sa time mo sa pag-educate kami, na-educate kami sa mga legal facts. God bless you and your family always. Likewise, Ma'am. Sabi ni Robert Go, never-ending stress story. Well, dito sa Pilipinas, ang mga government officials, they don't like whistleblowers. Furthermore, they don't like the idea that they can be checked. Kasi they spend so much to get into power, tapos parati silang nanganganib dahil sa mga hampas lupang tulad natin na magaling lang maghanap talaga ng magkalkal ng kanilang mga background, as well as to point out the things that they are saying that are wrong. Sabi ni Olin, so ano ngayon role ng IBP? Not much. They assist the Supreme Court in disciplining the lawyers. So, di ba? It happens. If I take up another cause, again, yung talagang lahat halos kalaban ninyo. Katulad namin, ang kalaban namin Kongreso. That's not going to be easy. And without even showing up in Congress, they want to file disbarment cases against me. Eh wala pa naman akong ginagawa as a lawyer. Parating ginagamit yung vulnerability of your license. And that's actually a slap suit. Retaliatory yan. So, retaliatory actions on your license. And nobody, no organization, the IBP should be speaking up for us, but it doesn't do that. Because we're under the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court rarely even speaks for us. They're there to discipline us. Okay. Oh my goodness, what did you do? Goodness, dali lang ha. Sir broke something again. The problem with having a very big and very strong dog is that you have to be prepared for some things to get broken. Sabi ni Ma'am Edith, ano bang demanda ng COMELEC? Kasi kung tama naman ang sinabi ng ididemanda nila, lagot ng COMELEC, kailangan nila ipakita dalawang palad nila sa husgado. Isa pa yun, automatic, hinahabla siya for fake news, unlawful utterances. Ay, nako. Publication. Sabi ni Andrew, kakamis ang PRD administration, nagkakalat, uy, ano yung na-achieve? Yung hearts, hand hearts. Thank you very much. Sabi ni Andrew, kakamis ang PRD administration, nagkakalat ang fake news, walang halos pumapatol sa mga anti-Duterte vloggers ngayon. Attorney na at mga professional experts na nagsasalita sa sabihan pang fake news. Yun na nga eh. It's like, si Sas, how can you claim that Saso Gando Sasot, who is a doctoral candidate for a doctorate in international relations, is spreading fake news about international relations? Nakakaloka. Sabi ni Sigrid, thank you for the info about restrictions on using the T word during election season. Lalong-lalo na when you use it in relation to a person, like calling a person a T word. Diba? Lalong-lalo na yung mga nasa kaliwang side. Yun. Pag tinawag mo yung T word, may mga issues yung COMELEC sa ganyan. Sabi ni Ma'am Karen, bakit yung COMELEC nagpo-online voting sa mga OFWs, di man lang muna nag-educate at nag-inform na legit yan, na di ima-magic. Sa kalidad ng internet connection capacity ng Pinas, COMELEC is fishy. Yikes. Yikes. Hi kay Ma'am Christina Bernardo, team replay daw siya because of the time difference in Quebec. Nice. Malamig pa? Is it still winter? Sabi ni Ian, thank you for always enlightening us on legal matters, awakening our patriotism, and guiding us on the right path towards a better Philippines. Thank you. Sabi ni Angel, I still believe that there is a rainbow after the rain. Kapit lang. Oh, I don't doubt that. But we have to work on it. Sabi ni Bench McNabs, what's the T word pala? The T word is in relation to RA 11479. Gets niyo na? Check niyo na lang. Republic Act number 11479. Hi kay Bergamo. Okay. Yan. Thank you kay Ronald Espiliardo. Sabi ni Ma'am Susan, your passion is contagious. God bless. Well, thank you. So again, may I remind everybody here that the BBM trolls have always considered hunger as a joke. They think it's a joke. If you stand with people who are hungry, sasabihin nila, ay, ito yung abogadong nagugutom. As if gutom is something to laugh about. As if it is something bad. It is bad when the government does it. So maybe, you're right. But hindi dapat kayo galit dun sa mga nagugutom. Maggalit kayo dun sa mga taong nagpapagutom. magalit kayo dun sa gobyerno na nasa power naman nila ayusin ang sistema ng agrikultura, pero inuuna po nila yung mga negosyanteng ang lalaki na nga ng kita at the expense of the ordinary person. Sabi ni Ma'am Johanna Matula, hi attorney, iftar time namin dito sa Dubai, UAE, kain-kain while watching your live. Allah bless you lagi, Attorney Fix. Thank you, ma'am. Sabi ni Ma'am Ana, malapit na po magsakura. Konting tiis na lang, papainit na. Watching from Japan. I want to visit Japan one day. Again, I mean, I've been there twice. Nag-aaral ako sa Hiroshima for about 3 weeks. It was legal conservation. Sabi ni Jungle Book, this looks like a good idea. Sabi niya, sana may cybersecurity data forensics NGO for protecting electoral results integrity. Parang wala yatang independent cybertech expert orgo. Sabi ni Bubbles, it's awful that people laugh about hunger. Is there a relation to an increased rice price due to global inflation caused by the effect of the pandemic and Ukraine-Russia war? The prices of fuel, yes, because that has increased the prices of fuel. And yes, it's an indirect contributor. But like I said, the world over, there are programs to mitigate that. Here, there are none. Namimigay sila ayuda in aid of elections instead of throwing the money at agriculture. There's so much to improve on. Pichu says, what happens if the parties who are asked to comment by the Supreme Court refuse to do so? I fear these crooks will feel they're above the judiciary and carry on with their wicked ways. Well, their lawyer is the Solicitor General. So the worst that could happen, I think, is that they will not file a comment deliberately. The Solgen will say, we'll waive their right to comment. The Supreme Court then will make a decision based on the pleadings filed, which means hindi maririnig yung panig nila. Sabi ni Valentino, if only 18 million out of 32 million DDS followers will vote for PDP, I'm sure they will win and would ensure acquittal of VP ISDBC if impeachment will prosper. Sabi ni Wilson, a government that mocks the poor forgets that revolutions are born from empty stomachs. Sabi ni Guardian Angel, isa lang naman daw ang solusyon sa election hacking is wag muna mag-connect ng internet while counting pero ayaw ng COMELEC. Alam na this. Yikes. Okay, so, umaabot na tayo sa dulo ng capacity ko magsalita. Medyo I've been working a lot on the past few days, so that's why ang bilis ko mapagod. So, if there are no more questions, i-recap lang po natin. Malaki ang problema natin sa pagkain. Mataas masyado ang presyo ng pagkain at ang staple natin, rice, hindi maresolba. Tumataas pa rin ang presyo nito. The Marcos administration has responded by sending trolls who laugh at our hunger, saying, di ba, gutom ka pa rin ba? Coming to our walls and saying, gutom ka rin? As if it was something that was shameful. And if you stand with people who are hungry, it is also something to laugh about. The Marcos administration also responded with Executive Order number 62 issued last year in 2024, across the board reducing the tariff rates in the importation of agricultural products and in specific instances in expanding the quotas for those imports that are still subject to quota systems. Despite this, and despite the fact that they did so in against the law, kailangan po kasi ng consultation dun sa mga sa sektor. Hindi nila ginawa basta pinasa lang nila yung EO62. Nagmamadali sila. In-extend pa nila yung mababa ng taripa sa bigas at further binabaan pa. Ang taripa po sa bigas ay dapat 50% sa importation. Pero bumaba yun ng 35% during the pandemic na dapat matatapos ng end ng 2023. Under the Marcos administration, in-extend nila yung pagbaba ng taripa na to 35%. Supposedly until the end of 2024. Pero before natapos ang 2024, naglabas nga sila ng Executive Order number 62. Pero even worse, binabaan nila to 15% yung tariff rate. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Yung subsidy para sa mga rice farmers, kokonti na lang. Pero titiba ng titiba yung mga importers dahil hindi bumababa ang presyo. Ibig sabihin, mababa ang taripa, mababa yung presyo ng importation nila. Pwede nilang ibenta ng mura dito, binibenta pa rin nilang mahal. Pero para hindi sila matabla ng mga mas murang presyo ng bigas na local, sila din po ang bumibili ng supply ng mga local farmers natin. Binabarat sila so that they make very, very little out of their harvest. But at the same time, ipapatas nila dun sa presyo ng imports nila so that all rice is now The all rice prices are now dictated by the traders slash importers slash smugglers. And Malacanang wonders, what is the problem? Bakit mataas pa rin presyo ng bigas? Well, if they took the time out to find out, they would realize, or they would realize kung saan to nanggaling. But on the other hand, para sa akin, simple lang yan. Alam nila kung ano yung problema. Hindi sila gumagawa ng solusyon. Okay? So, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng sumubaybay sa live natin ngayong araw na ito. May extension tayo ng 10 minutes dito sa TikTok. Pag umabot po sila dun sa ating gift goals, diretso tayong karaoke nights. Okay? Maraming salamat. And maraming salamat nga pala sa lahat ng nandito ngayon. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for your participation. Thank you very much for letting me know how you feel. It's essential to fighting for this country, di ba? Alam natin dapat kung anong gusto natin, and you make this known to us in every chance you get. I am very grateful for that. I'm also very grateful for all of your ideas, as well as for helping me keep updated on the other matters that I have not yet read about. So, and information is also give and take. I mean, there's no person ought to have a monopoly on information. My worry is that this administration is heading in that direction. Bakit? They're not fixing really the educational system. Binabawasan nila yung budget eh. Which means keeping us poor and ignorant is the name of the game. Kaya nga ayaw nilang nakakapagsalita tayo because tinatabla natin yung impormasyon nila. Information it belongs to everybody. Everybody should have access to information. It's a universal human right according to the United Nations. But even more than that, yung ability natin to communicate with each other, to say what we need to say what we want to say is a constitutionally protected right. Pero ngayon, nakikita natin masyadong maraming gumagamit sila ng excuse about fake news to restrict our capability to speak and in turn to check our government. Okay? So maraming salamat po sa inyo. Let's think more about what we can do for our country. But in the meantime, what we can do is remind them that itong ginagawa ng Marcos administration, ang dami nang problema, pero Duterte pa rin ang bukang bibig. Simple lang yan, Mr. President. If it's still about the Dutertes, what have you been doing in the nearly 3 years that you have been in office? Certainly, you have not been solving problems. Kasi hanggang ngayon, sinasabi ninyo, ililinis ninyo yung mess ng mga Dutertes. Magto 2 years na, ngayon nyo palang sinasabi niyan. Kaloka kayo. So, remember this government does not intend for us to have access to information because they're trying to shut down people. They're trying to shut down communications.